Welcome back, and today I'm going to make Pizzelle cookies, Pizzelle Italian cookies, but I'm going to put a spin on it, and I'm going to make them chocolate, and I'm going to use almond extract. So if you want to see how to do the traditional Pizzelle cookies, check out my Pizzelle Italian cookie video. All right, so let's get started on this new one that I've actually never tried before, but have been wanting to try. The first thing I want to show everybody is this is a Pizzelle maker. So you need to use a Pizzelle maker to make Pizzelles, and it's kind of like a waffle iron. And while it's not hot, I'm going to show you that I have it set on the setting of 3. I don't know if you can see those numbers. And while I'm doing all my measuring, I'm going to plug this in and get it started because it takes a little while. All right, so let's start. I'll start with some of the dry ingredients. I'm going to make a single batch today because I haven't done this, and also I'm planning on making more cookies this week, so I don't want to go ahead and have so many cookies in the house that we just eat way too many, because it is, I'm going to start with my flour, not my sugar. It would be tempting if I have just like way too many cookies in the house. All right, so I'm going to start with the flour, and I need 1.5 cups of flour. I'm going to use a butter knife, the flat end of a butter knife. And when measuring out flour, you want to level it off. You have a metal spatula, that works great too. Okay, so that's 1 cup. And then my 1/2 cup measure. I'm going to set that aside, and then the next ingredient is 1/4 cup of cocoa. So I got my 1/4 cup out, and this is a small container of cocoa, so I'm not going to be able to just, well, maybe I can. This is kind of small. I might be able to scoop it. Let's see how I do without making a huge mess. Oh, I actually got it in there. That's good. They do make bigger containers of cocoa. This is the only one I could find. Okay, and I can level this off. If you cannot level it off because you can't get in there, you could just take a spoon and just keep on doing it the best you can. Okay, so that's going in. And now the next ingredient is 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now make sure that you actually have baking powder, because baking soda will not work. All right, just verifying, 2 teaspoons. So here's 1, and I'm going to try to kind of have it all the way down there. So I kind of scoop that out. I'm going to use the lid to level it off. 1. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I'm going to set that aside, and I need 1/2 cup of melted butter. So on these sticks of butter, this says 1/2 cup. So I'm just going to stick this in this could be a regular glass container. I'm just using a measuring cup because it has a handle, and I'm going to totally melt this completely. Depending on your microwave, it might be 30 seconds, it might be longer. I'm going to go over to the microwave, melt that, and I'll be right back. All right, so I noticed when I was previewing the video just a second ago, I thought I might have not had this completely in the frame. So I'm going to measure out the cocoa again. So I have 1/4 cup of cocoa, and I could luckily get it into the container of cocoa. And then I'm just going to take my flat edge here, and I'm going to do it this way. Okay, so my butter's melted, and onto the eggs. So we need 3 eggs. To adjust this a little bit. Okay. 1, 2, 3. And I'm using brown eggs, but you could use white eggs, whatever type of eggs you like. These are probably about large eggs as far as the size goes. So I'm going to wash my hands and I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm going to put my extract into the eggs, and I always do that. I like to do it that way. And I'm using pure almond extract because I think that the chocolate with the almond extract is going to make it taste wonderful. Okay, so this is a lot. So it's going to have quite a bit of flavor. A tablespoon is actually a lot. And it's clear, so it's kind of hard to see. Vanilla is actually easier to measure up. Okay, there we go. It's all the way full. So 1 tablespoon of almond extract, and then I'm going to slightly mix it up. Okay, I'm going to set that aside, and now it's time for sugar. So I need 1 cup of sugar. Okay, I'm going to scoop it in here, and then I'm going to, my other knife has cocoa on it, so I need to get a fresh knife out, and I'm going to level this off. Put the sugar in here. And now let's go over all our ingredients. So I have, in this bowl, I have my 1.5 cups of flour, and I have my 1/2 cup of cocoa, unsweetened cocoa powder, and I have 2 teaspoons of baking powder, and then over here I have my 3 eggs, and I have my vanilla extract, and then of course I have my melted butter over here. All right, I don't think I mentioned that yet. So I'm going to add the butter into the sugar, and I will meet you at the mixer, and we will mix all this stuff together. Over at the mixer, and I have the butter and the sugar. That's what I'm going to do first. And we are making cookie dough, so we are going to use the dough hook. Okay. This type of attachment's good for like a cake, something lighter. And this type of attachment, a wire wisp, is good for egg whites or sauces, something very light. You would not want to use cookie dough, you will ruin your wire wisp. So if you're using a handheld mixer, just use, there's only 2 options, just don't use the wire wisp when doing this, because this is going to be a pretty thick dough. First, we're going to mix the butter and the sugar. To go ahead and scrape this down. I have a rubber spatula, and I'm just going to scrape the edges. Trying to get the right angle here. Make sure, especially in the bottom, it tends to kind of get caught in a little groove. So scraping the edges is definitely necessary. And then once this gets mixed up, probably when the mixer's still running, I'm going to add my eggs and my almond extract. And to attempt to have it so that everybody can see with the angle. There we go. So I'm going to have to turn it sideways a little bit when I go to add my ingredients. So the eggs and the almond extract, and then followed by the flour mixture. I'm going to slow it down when I add my eggs. I'm going to speed it back up. Now on on my flour mixture here, I typically, which I didn't do, I typically take a fork before I even mix it in there and just kind of mix it up with a fork. And then I'll be adding this gradually through the mixing process. So when I add some, I'll slow down the mixer and then I'll speed up the mixer. Okay, I'm going to scrape down the sides a little. Okay, let's push it down just a tad. And scrape the bottom again. And side some more. I did add everything, and at the last minute I poured in the rest because there was a very little amount. And when I'm running the mixer, the reason I slow it down is so that all the dry ingredients don't make a dusty mess and go flying, you know, go airborne everywhere. So that's why I slow it down, and then I speed it back up so that we can get it mixed really well. And I am scraping the sides very well, and we're going to mix it some more. And most importantly, I'm going to check the bottom and make sure in the little groove in the bottom of the mixer that I don't have anything stuck. Because no matter how good your mixer is, sometimes some stuff gets stuck. Okay, get the rest of this chocolate off of here. We will mix it again on high speed. Okay, I think it's done. Let's go check it out. Oh, it's a little bit hard to set up for the camera angle, so I'm just going to do my best here to show everybody. So I have my batter here, and it is a thick batter, by the way. So if you're like, oh, is that right? Yes, it is thick. All right, and then I have a cookie scooper, and if you don't have a cookie scooper, you could use 2 tablespoons, but this seems to work the best for me, especially with the Pizzelles. All right, and then I have a dry rack, or a cooling rack, not dry rack, a cooling rack over here that I'm going to put those in. So let's do a few. Oh, by the way, important point. This Pizzelle maker has a green light when it's ready. So I'm just going to take this off, and I'll show you how much. So I'm going to open this up, and it's been heating while I was doing this. And I'm going to take a scoop of my batter and put a scoop on each, right in the center. And then I'm going to close it down. And this is the tricky part. This is gonna, it's green now. It's going to turn in a few minutes to the red or orange, and then back to the green. So I don't know if everybody can see that. And the other thing I need to do while we're waiting on that is take out a fork, because it's easier to get out with a fork. I kind of wish they had ones that, I have a waffle maker that has a ready it actually literally says ready when it's ready, and I wish that the Pizzelle maker was like that. I only have one waffle maker that's like that, and it makes life a lot easier. Okay, so now it turned orange. Now I have to wait till it turns green again, and then it will be ready. So I will probably stop filming for a second. But I hope everybody's having a good day, is enjoying this video so far, and we'll check back in just a second. Okay, so it turned green, and it looks like it came out perfect. They're still a little soft, and but they're staying together, so that's what you want. And then they're going to go on to the cooling rack, which no one could see me. I just blocked it, so I'll have to do another one to show everybody what that looks like. Let's do another one, and we'll be back shortly. Okay, so let's pull this out. And I'm just using the fork so I don't burn my hand. And a little bit of this is patched together, so I'm just going to take a knife while it's hot and just kind of divide it. I'll wait till this cools down a little, and then I'll take the edges off. And you might say, well, what am I going to do with these edges? I always put some in a bowl, and they actually taste really good on ice cream or just to eat them plain. Especially if you're going to end up giving these Pizzelles away, then you can just have the family members eat these little crumb things. Of course, they eat the Pizzelles too. That's why I usually do a double batch, but I am going to be cooking a lot of cookies this week. So we're going to be taste testing lots of cookies. But these little pieces are quite tasty. I'm going to do some more of the powdered sugar in just a second. I'm going to wait till I have another batch come out. Okay, so I'm going to do another one. When it's warm, just take a knife and divide it in half. And very quickly, it's cool enough to take your edges off. And I like to have around 6 of them on my cooling rack. And then I have this powdered sugar dispenser that my daughter got me. It works very well. And it's best to hold it from, I don't know if you can see, a little bit higher to go ahead and sprinkle. I find if I get it too close, then I'm getting too much powdered sugar. And we are almost ready for the taste test. So that's like how I like it. Whoops, like that. I will show you in the camera a little bit better. So what you're going for really is about like that much. All right, we'll do the taste test shortly. Okay, before I do the taste test, I want to show everybody these cookies here, minus a couple few that there's people in the house that tasted them before I did. So probably minus about 3, but it makes a good amount, even the single batch. The maker, as you see, stayed pretty clean. So very clean, actually. So what I always do is I just leave it open for several hours, let it all dry out, and it's ready for the next time. Do not use soap and water on your Pizzelle maker. All right, let's get set up for the taste test. My favorite part, the taste test. All right. So this is how it looks. And by the way, I have my little end pieces here. Not a lot left. Those are good too. Let's taste this. That is quite good. The almond and the cocoa go so well together. I was very anxious to try this. I'm glad I did. It tastes very delicious, and I will definitely enjoy it. Let's try some of these. This is still better. Those would taste really good with ice cream. I've done the traditional ones with ice cream as well. They're quite delicious. But the cocoa and the almond really complement each other. This is a nice sweet treat, but not overly sweet. It goes well with a cup of coffee. I I hope you enjoyed this video. For those of you who have subscribed to my channel, I really appreciate it. And if you don't, please subscribe to my channel. It is free. Thanks for watching, and I hope you like this video.